And we've now switched over to a radio broadcast to bring this rest of the Commodores Gatemen contest to you all. We apologize for the inconveniences as we now transition to Doors on the Radio from the Gov. Matt Venezia, Zach Sardenik, Destiny Sanchez. As you can see on your screen, it is 3-1 Falmouth. You missed, I believe, a 3-run inning in the bottom of the second. We can allow you and educate you on what happened to allow all that to happen. It was Lavalette with a base hit in the second that advanced him, a walk from Highfill, and a base hit from Shelton loaded the bases. Christian Martin had an RBI knock. And a couple other Commodores scored then in that 3-run inning to make it 3-1 now. And then Telfer a second ago just stranded 3 to keep the game 3-1.
Yeah, he entered and looked really, really good out of the bullpen, replacing Dominic Nyman, who only lasted an inning and a third on the mound. But Telfer's been really good, got himself into some trouble with some walks, but found his way out unscathed, and that's exactly what you need from a guy like Telfer out of the bullpen.
Gavin Keelan in that second inning grounded into a double play. He wasn't credited with the RBI that came in to score. That was the third run for Falmouth of that stretch to come in, and that's where we sit now with Christian Martin sending one the other way. Having a play on it is Stewart just inside the left field foul line, and he'll make the play, 2 gone.
Trying to just extend here and take that momentum that you got from Telfer getting out of the jam and just push it.
So now with 2 away, Gavin Keelan steps in. Again, the walk from Shelton a second ago is the runner on first for Falmouth. And now Gavin Keelan just finished up his freshman year at Louisville, the shortstop. In there now. Back to his normal grounds at short today with Christian Martin at second. A couple of the older faces for the Commodores to begin the season getting back to where they started. This one right back up the middle. Diving, and Murillo keeps it on the infield but can't get up to make the play. He kept it on the infield dirt, but it's a base hit for Keelan.
Really nice job to just put the ball right back to where it was sent. And nothing more than you can do there. They teach you to send it right back towards the pitcher, and does just that.
Now, once again, the bottom of the order, it's Tab Tracy. And while we were down with the bases loaded, he made a diving catch to rob Nick McLean of a base hit that would have tied this ball game up, no doubt about it. So Tab doing his job, right fielder crime on right fielder crime right there. As he steps in, ahead in the count 1-0. Batista still out there, a couple of looks back, and now he goes. It's on the ground, a cue shot here, a tough play at third. They'll go to second and not in time. It's a base hit, they'll rule it. Stewart running to his left, a tough throw to second where Bozer was covering. And everybody's safe. It's another hit for the Commodores.
Yeah, he knew he wasn't going to be able to make the play at first, so a nifty attempt there from Cologne trying to glove flip it underhand to second base, but just a little too high, and it pulled Bozer off the bag.
So now they're fully loaded, back to the top of the order for Joe Redfield. And the Commodores can really put a foot in this one right here with a chance to bring in several runs here, already up 2. Big spot for Redfield. He reached on an error last time. Watches a fastball upstairs. It's 2-0.
He's trying to break this game open.
And he can do that right here, partner. You remember the game in the opener with these two teams. 11 runs was just barely enough to win, so you can never have too many. The 2-0 takes it for a late called strike. Looked like a changeup low and in, and Redfield had to look back in a conversation to Joe LaBella, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, and he just said, was that the corner? And he got a no there.
2-1. Redfield lines this one. It hangs up, and just enough off the crack of the bat. You thought that one was going to get down, but the Commodores do their best impression of the Gatemen. Both teams in the fourth strand the bases loaded. It's still 3-1 Doors. We're going to go to the fifth here on the Commodores Radio Network. So the new arm for the Commodores is Casey Hunt. He's been used in some save situations, but now he's going to be used in the middle part of this ball game, Zach.
Yeah, first time you get a look at him, and he's been lights out throughout his outing so far.
So he greets Bobby Bozer first. Bozer a walk and a full count to lead off the ball game. Struck out looking back in the third. Falmouth already 7 hits in this part of the ball game, leading 3-1 against their West Division rival, the Wareham Gatemen, losing in the opener 11-10. Trying to even up the season set, and Hunt fires a fastball in there on the outer half for a strike.
Yeah, you got the Mississippi State battery tonight with Ross Highfill back there behind the plate.
We like seeing that. It's a nice combo that these guys can get reps together. Casey being an older veteran, and Ross, being just finishing his freshman year, just learning a lot back there. The 0-2 is a breaking ball, and it's set foul over the dugout of Falmouth along the first base line. Nothing in 2 as we continue on here. Again, having to jump on the radio waves here as we're dealing with some technical problems here at the Gov. We want to thank you for bearing with us through the commotion. Nothing in 2 from Hunt. Goes with the breaking ball, outer half. And not getting the call, Ross Highfill stood up trying to throw it down to third. And I was just about to say that was a strikeout looking. And behind the plate, Joe LaBella says otherwise. It'll have to wait at least one more pitch. As Hunt comes set, nobody on. He works simply from the stretch. The fastball tried to jam him, and it's sent to Lavalette in left. It hangs up as he comes in a couple of steps. The first out of the inning is picked up.
Yeah, nice job to continue to pound the zone after getting that pitch that you thought was strike 3. Sometimes that can throw you on the mound and make you leave a pitch over the heart of the plate because you're frustrated, but he didn't do that. He threw a nice pitch, inner third, got in on the hands, and forced that pop out.
So now stepping in, Zach Stewart, a couple of strikeouts for the left fielder tonight in the 3-hole for Wareham. The Gatemen 4-4-1 to this point in the year. That's 9 points out of the West. Falmouth right behind them, separated by a game and a half, a 3-point differential at 2 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. Nothing in 1 from Casey Hunt to Stewart. It's another slider under the hands, breaking in, and it's cut on and missed.
Casey has just looked in complete control at every single moment when he's been on the mound this season.
He's been one of my favorite arms, that's for sure. He just comes in and dominates in a couple different outings of multiple innings used for saves. As he comes set here on the 0-2, drops another slider in there. It hangs for a good amount, but then sharply comes back into these left-handed batters. It's a tough pitch to hit.
It really is, unless you're able to sit on it and square it up. It's the type of pitch that you either hit a very long way or you don't touch it all, and more often than not, you don't touch it at all.
Casey comes set, the 0-2. Chopped on the ground, foul to the right of first base. Yeah, Casey, 5 innings of work through 2 appearances, 8 strikeouts for Hunt. I mean, he is the perfect example of this back end of the bullpen. But in today's circumstance, being used in the middle part of this ball game. Another hanging slider. It's rolled foul again towards the dugout of the Commodores. Beautiful day for baseball here at the Gov. We'll be on the radio with you tomorrow as the Commodores will take on the Bourne Braves. The second time the Doors and the Braves will meet in this young part of the season. 0-2. A hanging slider taken for strike 3. And not the start of the ball game you want if you are Zach Stewart. That's 3 strikeouts in your first 3 appearances.
And all against 3 different arms. I mean, you started against Nyman, went down looking. Telfer punched him out swinging, and now looking against Casey Hunt.
Just such a massive spot. And we didn't have the broadcast, both radio or TV, up to show you. But the bases loaded jam, there was a balk that occurred, and Telfer was really on the ropes. Was able to get a diving play by Tab Tracy and right to keep Wareham right where they are with that 1 run on the board. This game could be at least tied if that ball gets down, Zach.
It could, and it was a really good swing from Nick McLean. They've gotten him to end jams twice already. A double play ball in the second, and then the line out there in the fourth.
The front door breaking ball here looked pretty good from here with the right-handed batter and David Glancy in the box. But again, LaBella not given the call. It's 1-1. Hunt standing real tall on the mound. Comes set and the pitch. It's a breaking ball. It hung again, and another wave and a miss. He really does a nice job of pulling the string there. And comes up empty, does Glancy, and it's 1-2.
See if he goes back to it or if he tries to elevate that fastball here and see what he can get. See if he'll get Glancy to chase upstairs.
Hunt turns off a couple of Highfield's calls, and now he comes set from the waist. The pitch, it's another slider hanging. So Ross maybe was thinking along the same lines as you, Zach, was wanting to mix it up a little bit and get that high fastball in the upper 90s past him.
You also have the possibility that I've seen a few times from all these catchers where they'll intentionally put a shake in and tell the pitcher to shake so that way the hitter starts thinking more about it as well.
A lot of mind games in this game of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Hunt trying to set him down in order, the 1-2. Got him on the outside looking. It's a strike 3 called. Casey Hunt, 2 backwards Ks in the inning, and a fly ball out. Have another 0 on the board for the Gatemen with Falmouth looking to extend the lead. We'll be right back on the Commodores Radio Network. It's 3-1 Falmouth here as we get ready for the bottom of the 5th inning, but some other action around the Cape League on this beautiful evening for baseball, and Destiny Sanchez has the report all around the Cape.
Thanks, Matt. The final for the Kettleers and the Harbor Hawks is 6-1 Kettleers. The Orleans Firebirds lead the Brewster Whitecaps 4-2 in the top of the 9th. The Bourne Braves lead the YD Red Sox 5-2 in the bottom of the 4th. And the Hartwich Mariners lead the Chatham Anglers 3-0 in the top of the 4th.
Well done, Destiny, on that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it looks like Orleans about to get their 2nd win in a row. That was a team that had lost 5 in a row. Entering yesterday's contest at Falmouth lost 5-4. Good for the Birds over there in the East Division. And now we continue on with the Commodores leading 3-1. It's Kevin Bazell stepping in for the first time this season, making his appearance. Up to this point in the ball game for Bazell. Couple of ground ball outs. He was able to reach on a weird situation that had Joe Redfield get in a pickle between 2nd and 3rd. It was a 1-5 put out that Bazell is, recorded, but he was able to reach on the fielder's choice. 3-0 to tonight's designated hitter out of Texas Tech for the Commodores. And that fastball nowhere near, and it's a 4-pitch walk.
That's how you want to start the inning. Lead off base runners. They've done it already now 4 different times and trying to find a way to bring them around.
So it's Charlie Condon now. Had a spot yesterday representing the game-winning run, but the inning came to an end in the 9th with Condon in the box. Anytime that can happen, though, that means you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, you just give yourself a chance to get something done.
And now that is 5 straight balls from Batista, who remains in. He started this ball game for Wareham. And right now, Hernandez wants to go have a talk with his right-hander as Condon now, you got to look and see what the situation is. But for a guy who hasn't thrown a strike in 5 or so pitches, you expect him to come back pretty hard with one here. Could you get the green light up too?
Yeah, and there's a big righty warming in the pen as well for Wareham, but you definitely want to see Condon hammer a ball here. If you're going to swing after 5 straight, you want to get one hard.
He's certainly due for one. We'll see what Batista gives him here and what Condon does in the box. He does swing at it, and it's a line drive out to Colin at 3rd. The fastball, it was one, but it was just up and in. If that's over the middle of the plate, I don't think that ball stays inside Arnie Allen Diamond here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Just got it in on the hands a little bit. It was tough.
So that brings in Chase Lavalette, certainly capable of sending a baseball a long way, so not nearly out of the woods at all is Lavalette, this one goes inside on him, and it's going to be a free 90 for Bazell, who was going on the wild pitch, but the ball went screaming near the dugout area of Falmouth. So Bazell's now standing on second with one away.
Well, and he was headed towards third. He had already rounded the bag. He was trying to get an extra base out of it, but they stop him and hold him up as it went out of play.
So now Lavalette with a base hit would do the job. The first pitch here to him, the second taken for a ball. 2-0 now to Lavalette. 3 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors for the Commodores to this point. A run on 3 hits and 1 mistake for Wareham, with the Doors trying to get one more here. Nice take there by Lavalette. Late call, though, behind the plate for a strike. Looked pretty low from up here, Zach, but a really late call there from Joe LaBella.
Yeah, he's been consistent with it. There's a big strike zone there for Lavalette at 6-7.
The 2-1, this one's nowhere near. The fastball away to the left-handed bat of Falmouth, and it's 3-1. A big spot here in the middle part of this ball game to try and tack on another run. But you have to like the way the Commodores look right now, given the success of this back end of the bullpen. Batista looked to second. He lifts the leg and goes, and it's a fastball cut on and sent foul. Now, full the count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ross Highfill awaits on deck. I really like this chunk of the order, 3, 4, 5 that the Commodores have in Condon, Lavalette, and Ross Highfill.
Can't do much better than that.
Batista simply out of the stretch, lifts the leg and fires the pitch. It's off the end of the bat for Lavalette, and that'll get through for a base hit. Holding up at third is Bazell. Lavalette reaches for his first hit of the day. And a cue shot right past the third baseman, Cologne, and they're on the corners with one away for Ross Highfill.
Yeah, it just keeps things moving.
It wasn't hit all that hard, but I think Lavalette had to wait to see if Cologne was going to be able to make that play running to his left. And because he just barely ran out of real estate, Bazell wasn't able to take off and round the bag and really threaten for home.
Well, and you saw on the ball Bazell hit earlier, the Doors running into and out at second base. They didn't want to do that again.
So now it's Highfill. Leads the Commodores with 2 home runs on the year. Wouldn't be a terrible time to get one right now. Ahead in the count, 1-0. Batista comes set. Going is Lavalette on the break. They fake the throwdown, does Hernandez, and Lavalette will swipe another bag. And now a base hit could probably bring in 2.
Well, and Hernandez comes up throwing and he runs into Ross Highfill, but Highfill has the right to remain in the batter's box, as he did. And so Hernandez just kind of ends up hugging Highfill and holding on to the baseball.
Off the end of the bat here from Highfill as he was ahead of it and pulled it foul. That's the first strike of the AB from Batista, who's trying to tightrope out of some trouble here. A ground ball, though, probably won't do it, though. The double play out of order because of Lavalette's stolen base. The 2-1. Fastball driven pretty deep to straightaway center. Wallace backs up. He'll make the play backpedaling, and that'll be deep enough for the sacrifice. Highfill picks up his 6th RBI on the year, and the Commodores stretch the lead to 4-1 here in the 5th.
Really good swing. Ball might get out in a couple of other parks, including the one that Highfill hit his last home run in, but not deep enough in this park, and Wallace able to run it down.
Everyone able to move up there on the sacrifice, including Lavalette at second. And now there's a mound visit, and this could be the day for Batista. So Lavalette will remain on third with 2 out now for Colby Shelton. The big lefty had his first base hit as a Commodore back in the 2nd inning. Walked his last time in the 4th and will have a chance to pick up a pretty big run out there. And while we continue for the new arm to come in, I just want to mention, we were talking about the stranded runners that Falmouth has had. So many through these last 2 games, Zach, but the Doors have been bringing in the base runners, and that's why they have 4 on the board already in this part of the game.
Yeah, just converting in big spots, and the 2-out hits and the hits with runners in scoring position to bring those guys in and add to that lead. They fell behind early, but didn't let it get to them.
So a new arm getting ready to go. And we will take a quick break and tell you his numbers on the other side, with Falmouth threatening for one more. It's 4-1 Doors here on the Commodores Radio Network. Jake Faraday is the new arm to greet the Commodores. Colby Shelton here to be a left on right matchup in favor of the door in the box, and Zach has his numbers.
Well, there aren't too much to look at. I mean, in 2 seasons at Arkansas, he has a combined 1 inning pitched. His first year, 1/3 of an inning, didn't give up a hit or a run, just got out of that inning with a strikeout. And then year 2, just 2/3 of an inning and gave up 3 runs, got hit around a little bit, but it's just so inflated because of the small sample size. You never know what you're going to get from this Arkansas Razorback.
Yeah, in that limited amount of time, 40.5 on the ERA. That screams inflation right
Yeah,
there.
it's very much inflated. I would not at all take much stake into that.
Well, Batista is still on the hook here for that 5th potential run for Falmouth and Chase Lavalette, who's 90 feet away. It'll take a Colby Shelton safe ball out somewhere on the ground to get through, or you can't do a sacrifice here, and that's a big insurance run out there for Falmouth, who's already picked up one of those in this inning. Now Faraday from the stretch is ready to work. First pitch looked to be a changeup, dipping down in the zone for a ball.
Some SEC action here. The Razorback taking on Colby Shelton.
Another really late call there. My apologies. That was a strike. 0-1 to Shelton. Fastball here off the plate from the right-hander. Misses away. Like you said there, partner, SEC on SEC here. These guys, maybe not Faraday in the very limited amount of time that he's pitched over the last 2 years, but certainly understanding of the staff over at Arkansas is an Alabama bat here in Colby Shelton. Got a fastball down the middle. He sent it straight back to the screen, and it makes the count 1-2.
Yeah, both these programs hosting regionals this season. Doing pretty well.
2 out in the inning. Chase Lavalette just had a base hit, and he stands on third. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Brought the off-speed stuff under the hands of the left-handed bat, and Falmouth will strand Lavalette, but not before Ross Highfield's sacrifice. Brought in Kevin Bazell at third. The Doors add one more to the lead. And as we go to the 6th inning, it's 4-1 Falmouth. Zach Serdenik will take over on the play-by-play duties on the other side of the break here on the Commodores Radio Network.
Casey Hunt back to the mound for a second inning of work here in the top of the 6th. Zach Serdenik alongside Matt Venezia, Destiny Sanchez, and Laura Schroeder helping us out on the graphics today as we get things moving. Falmouth in front 4-1, adding an insurance run in the bottom of the 5th. A line for the Gatemen, 1 run on 3 hits, 4 runs on 8 hits for Falmouth. Landon Wallace, Grant Hussey, and Yadi Hernandez. Now to face Hunt, who worked a 1-2-3 fame with a pair of punch-outs in his last inning. First pitch is the bender for a called strike, and it's 0-1.
Good chance here for KC to go right back to work. Had the back-to-back looking strikeouts to end that 5th inning.
The righty delivers. Once again, it's a curveball swung on and missed, and it's quickly 0-2. So Landon Wallace 0-2 with a pair of punch-outs for him to this point. He's trying to change things up, but Casey Hunt looks good. The righty comes set at the belt. Goes right back to it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, says Casey Hunt to Landon Wallace. A quick strikeout. That's his third consecutive, dating back to the last inning, and the first man retired here in the top of the sixth.
Yeah, KC now up to this point. I mean, you look at the innings he's pitched. That was just he's starting now his 7th inning of work on the season, and he's already up to 11 strikeouts. I mean, this guy is just absolutely having success with the breaking ball. He shows it to you, it sits up there for a while, and then it just drops off a table. Lots of swing and misses on that pitch, not only tonight but throughout this season.
Now the left-handed hitter, Grant Hussey, steps in, takes a fastball low, gets ahead in the count. 3 infielders on the right side of second base. A big shift for Falmouth against Hussey. Struck out in the second, walked in the fourth. Got all the way around to third, but was stranded there as Telfer left him loaded. Called strike from Hunt. On the off-speed, evens up the count at 1-1.
Might be worth mentioning that before Casey moved to the bullpen this year with Mississippi State, he actually started a couple of starts as a starter, so he certainly has enough in the tank if needed.
Ground ball the other way. Keelan backhand across his body throw. Can't be picked out by Condon, and it gets out of play. That'll move up the runner. Hussey went the other way. The doors were shifted. It's an infield single, and then an error allows him to move up to second base. And the Gatemen have a chance to get that run back as a man in scoring position with 1 away. Brings up Yadi Hernandez, who has reached both times. The catcher out of Seton Hall having himself a good evening. Walked and scored the lone run for the Gatemen in the second. And then singled back in the fourth, but was left stranded on the base paths. Big curveball that stays inside to start this at bat from Casey Hunt. Hunt comfortable in the stretch. He works from it exclusively. That back foot, first base side. Staggers the feet as he comes set. Fastball misses low. The count now 2-0. Good arms in the outfield. So Hussey will need a good jump if he wants to score from second on a hit. Hitter's count now to Hernandez. Holds the hands tight to the body as he awaits the pitch. Pops it up, right side. Long run for Condon towards the bullpen, and it's going to land on the hill. Some fans going to get it. Good crowd here on this Wednesday night. It's a makeup game at Guff Fuller Field. This game was originally scheduled for Saturday, but rained out then, so moved to today. 2-1 count to Hernandez. Closed stance from the right side. Big righty Casey Hunt gets the sign and comes set at the belt. Couple of looks back to second. Delivers off speed, popped up. Shallow center. And Christian Martin will make the catch just into the outfield grass for out number 2.
Yeah, Casey hasn't really needed help at all up to this point in what we've seen in getting out of jams. I wouldn't even call this one a jam, given that there's only the one threat that was a base hit, and then the throwing error from Keelan allowed Hussey to get to second, but he's just so good with his stuff. He trusts his stuff. He gets good swings and misses, and every now and again, you'll get a pop-up like that on those hanging sliders that he likes to throw.
Brings up Sebastian Murillo. The shortstop has also reached in both plate appearances, a single and a walk. Chops one off his foot on a first pitch fastball. Georgia Bulldog working on a decent start to the summer. Got 6 hits already for Wareham. Does have those 5 RBIs to this point. That 6th one potentially standing at second base. Hunt working with Highfill. Gets the sign behind the rubber. Martin holding on Hussey at second. Big bender cut on and missed, and it's 0-2.
I mean, he shows you it, Zach. You know it's coming when you see it. It's up there hanging for a long, long time. But for some reason, just a lot of these barrels that are going after it just are coming up empty.
Wind gusting in here on this June evening. Off speed bounced in. Highfill with a backhand pick. And the count now to 1-2. Infield is deep across the diamond with 2 away, even with that runner at second. Couple of steps towards the left side, playing the right-handed hitter to pull. Outfield playing him straight up. Deep breath on the rubber. Right leg kick. 1-2. Shot the other way into right field. A base hit. Tracy's got a good arm, and Hussey will be held up. Tracy's throw is cut off. A single for Murillo. Runners on the corners now with 2 away, and that brings J.C. Colon up as the tying run here in the top of the 6th.
Well, yeah, he just shot the fastball the other way. Hunt trying to mix up his approach a little bit and show him the hot stuff went ahead in the count. And Murillo's a good hitter. We talked about what he's done up to this point. That's hit number 6 for him already. On that one right there, just shot the other way. Had enough juice on it that, Tab with his big arm, as you mentioned, partner, he's able to get that one in, and they're on the corners.
J.C. Cologne steps in. First pitch swinging ground ball off of Hunt. He has time to pick it up. Not a great throw, but Condon picks it out of the dirt to get Cologne by half a step. A play that got a lot scarier than it needed to be, but either way, it counts all the same. Doors out of the jam. Gatemen strand a pair. It's 4-1. Falmouth in front, heading to the bottom of the 6th from Gov Fuller Field. Jake Faraday back to the mound for Wareham, but first, we've got to hear from Destiny Sanchez, who has something about a special someone helping out this Falmouth team this season.
Thanks, Zach. Steve Cishek has arrived as of yesterday as the Special Assistant of Baseball Operations. As a Falmouth native, Steve played 3 years of varsity baseball at Falmouth High School and 4 years on Post 188. Cishek went to play at Carson Newman University, where he was drafted in the 5th round by the Florida Marlins in 2007. The sidearm righty went to pitch on in parts of 13 MLB seasons for 8 different teams. He finished his career with a career 2.98 ERA and 133 saves. Having Steve on as the general manager's staff will be a crucial part, especially for mentorship of the pitching staff.
Thanks, Destiny. We talk about that mentorship of the pitching staff. I talked to Coach Trundy about that earlier with Cishek, and he mentioned that it's just really cool to have those guys that have been there and done that, to be able to talk to those pitchers on that staff and give them their insight. First pitch to Christian Martin, misses outside with a fastball from Faraday. It's 1-0.
Yeah, I think we all knew with Cishek getting here, stands real tall. You can't miss him. We saw him down there yesterday for the first time, and a lot of the guys, a lot of the arms are going to talk to the former major leaguer.
Another fastball outside to Christian Martin. It's 2-0. Faraday entered to face Colby Shelton in the 5th and struck out the first man he saw. Now gets Martin, Keelan, and Tracy, 3 more left-handed hitters here in the 7-8-9. Bends a slider back in for a called strike on the outside edge. It's a 2-1 count. Christian Martin 1 for 2, an RBI single in the 2nd, and then a flyout in the 4th. Faraday works exclusively from the stretch. Fires a fastball low and in the count now 3-1. Crosses that right leg across his body when he works from the stretch as he lifts the leg. Gets the sign from Hernandez behind the plate. Takes a deep breath as he comes set. 3-1, fastball over the heart. Runs the count full, 3-2.
Martin, a real timely base hit back in the 2nd to help bring in one of the 3 that we saw for Falmouth that inning, and those runs are still standing.
The 3-2. Bounces in. Christian Martin works a walk. And the leadoff man aboard in yet another inning, the 5th leadoff man to reach for Falmouth in this ballgame.
Yeah, the only time we didn't see a leadoff man get on was Ross Highfield. He had a strikeout in the 4th to lead off that inning. But everyone else, doing their job and finding ways to reach and moving the line right along. It's been really contagious, these guys stepping in there and finding ways to get on base.
Brings up Gavin Keelan. He squares to bunt, can't get it down. Throw back to first, not in time. Martin dives to the outside part of the bag and just beats the tag from Hussey.
That was nearly pretty close, but it's funny. Keelan told me that at Louisville this year, anytime there was a runner on first and second, or maybe even a runner on first, it was automatic for him to bunt. He always got the sign, and no surprise we're seeing him show bunt here to try to move over that really important run in Christian Martin.
Martin with a 3-step lead off the bag. He takes off. Pitch is down. It gets away from Hernandez. Martin slides into second. So he'll stay there. It's a stolen base as he was off on the pitch. Really good pitch to run on and a man in scoring position without that bunt.
Well, now I think you might see it for sure. He didn't need it there because the pitch was really far inside, but now in a spot, and we're going to see Hernandez go out and talk. I think they know what might be on here.
The only thing with that is, do you want to give up the out in a situation like this where you can try and add even more this early and you already have a 3-run lead?
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, you could go to either here. I think both make sense. 3 runs is healthy enough, right? You're in a good spot. It's not like it's a 1-run ball game or it's tied. But at the same part, you have an opportunity here to even, you trust the bats. You have Tab Tracy right behind, and then you're back to the top of the order. So, maybe you wait one more batter. I think either play here works, and we'll see what Gavin Keelan decides to do here now after the battery for Wareham had a conversation.
1-1 count. It's the Louisville Cardinals. Slightly open stance from that left side. Hands tight to the left shoulder. 1-1 fastball high. Hernandez comes jumping out of the stance to keep that one from getting to the backstop. Faraday struggling a little bit with the control at the moment. Trying to settle himself back down. It's a 2-1 count. Keelan had the double play in the second and then a single in the fourth. And a balk is called from behind home plate. Joe LaBella saw it himself, and that'll move Martin all the way over to third with still nobody out.
There have been a lot of balks, Zach, that we've seen in almost pretty much every single game, and I don't remember seeing that at school, with, being in, collegiate play, collegiate seasons.
2-1, sent back to the screen by Keelan. Faraday gets back even in the count. It's 2-2.
And I can't really think of like a logical kind of reason as to why they have occur so much. You talk about the wood bat and metal bat, but that's a batter hit situation, not for the pitchers. Everything should be the same.
Wareham infield deep across the diamond. They'd concede the run if it's hit on the ground here. Keelan lines one out to center. Wallace comes in on it. Martin will tag. The throw is up the line, and it hits Christian Martin on his way in. A sac fly from Gavin Keelan, and another run across for Falmouth here in the bottom of the sixth.
Well, Keelan wasn't rewarded the RBI on that double play that happened, but he gets one right here. It's a 2-2 count. You see him showing the bunt. You love to find a way, to bring in that run with Martin without retiring an out. And then right there, you see it happen. He battles in the box, chokes up a little bit, and just puts one out into right center. And, Wallace has a really big arm back there, but with the speed and Christian Martin, you're rolling the dice on that every single time. That's a big run for Falmouth here in the sixth.
Tracy squares, tries to get it down the third base side, but it's foul, and he'll trot back to first base. The 3-run bottom of the second for Falmouth put the Commodores on top, and they have remained there, adding one in the fifth and one so far in the sixth. There's a righty up and throwing in the Wareham bullpen. It's back-to-back left-handed hitters here with Tracy and then Redfield before a pair of righties coming up in Bazell and Condon if the inning extends that far. Infield deep across the diamond with the exception of Cologne playing even with the bag at third. Tracy, open stance from the left side, holds the hands high, takes a fastball for a called strike. Faraday ahead in the count now 0-2.
Now you've already gotten one in, but you would love a situation here to flip the lineup card with a runner aboard for Joe Redfield to step in. Again, making Faraday move out of the stretch quickly.
The 0-2 runs inside, brushes back Tracy. Keeps the count alive. Tracy struck out in the second and then singled in the fourth before Joe Redfield lined out to leave the bases loaded. Right leg kick, 1-2, bounces in, and it's 2-2. Faraday has thrown some good pitches over the zone here, but when he's missed, he has not been close.
Yeah, it hasn't been particularly close at all. They're not tempting, and I guess that works when you're ahead 0-2 like Faraday is in this, he was in this at-bat, but now it's 2-2. You got to throw something pretty close here, even if it misses.
The break even cut on and missed. Tracy went fishing outside. Couldn't come up with the heater at 96 on the radar gun from Faraday. That's the second out of this inning and the second punch out for Mr. Faraday on the rubber. Lineup card flips over and Joe Redfield steps in.
Yeah, if nothing else, I mean, look, it's a good at-bat work by Tracy. The fastball there just off the plate. That was a good pitch to Chase on 2-2. Just coming up empty on that cut.
Redfield's worked some good at-bats as well. Single, reached on an error, and then lined out. Takes first pitch up above the letters for ball one. Same look for the infield, deep with the exception of Cologne, even with the bag at third. Redfield, open stance, bends the knees, and takes a called strike on the fastball, outer third. Evens things at 1-1.
Zach, it looks like Joey Ryan, one of the new Commodores getting in today, is loosening up now. We'll see if Casey Hunt rolls back out there for the seventh.
1-1 is tight. Looks like a bit of a cutter action there from Faraday. It's a 2-1 count. Sam Houston, Bearcat in the box. Bends the knees into his stance. Circles the bat over that left shoulder, hands tight to the chest. The 2-1 is roped foul towards the Commodores bullpen down the right field line, out in front of that pitch. And it brings the count even at 2-2. One run already in on the inning for Falmouth. 5-1 ball game between the Doors and the Gatemen. Second meeting of the season between these two, with the last one coming back on opening night, an 11-10 victory for the Gatemen. 2-2 is outside and sails to the backstop. Run the count full now, 3-2 to Joe Redfield.
There's also action in the Wareham bullpen. You'd like to not have another threat for themselves to reach here. And if that does happen, not really sure how much longer we would see Faraday out here.
The payoff pitch is inside, ball four. Redfield battles back, works a walk, and a two-out base runner for Kevin Bazell.
Yeah, Bazell reaching on the walk last time, came around to score. He's contributed a couple times, already reaching twice because of that fielder's choice that he reached on back in the third.
Redfield already has a stolen bag in this game. A two-step lead off of first, being held on by Hussey. First pitch swing, and Bazell sends one right off the mask of the home plate umpire, Joe LaBella, who will take a second. He looks to be okay. That's what the mask is there for, Matt.
Yeah, they ring you when that happens. You know, you want the mask with a lot of cushion, a lot of padding. It looks like Hernandez has one of those, but Joe LaBella's got a pretty old school, almost hockey goalie-like mask back there.
Did give a thumbs up to the dugout. Says he's good to go, and we're back to action. An 0-1 count with the righty Bazell at the plate. Fastball low and outside. It's a 1-1 count. Redfield thought about going there. He tried to time up the jump, didn't guess right, and so he held up at first. Bazell works back in the batter's box. Slight bend to the knees from the right side. Angles that bat over the shoulder. Check on Redfield, but he's back in standing up. Blue skies, some clouds painted across the sky here in Falmouth. 62 degrees at Gov Fuller Field. Nice cool night for baseball in the Cape League. Fastball fouled back to the screen by Bazell, and Faraday ahead in the count now 1-2.
Just a really good effort here by Falmouth so far, controlling traffic when it's been on the bases against them, and they've done a good job of bringing in all the traffic with the bats, and that's why the deficit is as big as it is right now.
Redfield creeping off the bag at first. High leg kick, and the slider is low and away. Bazell lays off it. Big sweeping breaking ball there from Faraday. Evens up the count 2-2. It was the two-out walk that put Redfield aboard. Doors got one across already in the inning on the sac fly from Gavin Keelan. The 2-2. Sent right back to the screen upstairs. 90 miles an hour on that one from Faraday. Another 2-2 awaits Bazell. Good at bat work for a guy who's just starting his summer out. This is his debut on the Cape. Faraday works first base side of the rubber. Runner goes on the 2-2. Fastball inside. Throw down, not in time. Second stolen bag of the game for Joe Redfield. And with a 3-2 count awaiting Kevin Bazell, there's another runner in scoring position for Falmouth here in the bottom of the sixth.
A really good jump there. You talked about in the previous couple of pitches, not timing the jump up right. Well, that was as perfect as it could have been for a guy who swiped 15 bags with the Bearcats this previous season. Already 2 for him tonight.
Payoff, runs inside to Bazell. Another walk worked by a Commodores hitter, and Charlie Condon comes up. with 2 on and 2 away.
And this is what we were talking about a few at-bats ago. You know, with Redfield getting in there, had a full count himself, found a way to reach another walk here. And this is the last thing you wanted if you're Wareham, to extend the inning to this guy right here.
Charlie Condon 0 for 3 so far. A couple of flyouts and a lineout. Takes up, it bounces off the glove of Hernandez all the way to the netting, almost over the top of the netting. And the wild pitch allows both runners to move up. There's 2 in scoring position now.
Yeah, now Hernandez wants to have a chat. I mean, that one was not really sure what happened there. And Hernandez just wants to make sure his picture up there is okay, and a base hit will really spread this one out.
Doors trying to break things open here in the bottom of the 6th, looking for their first win at home this season. So far, to this point, 0-3-1 in 4 contests at Gov Fuller Field. Trying to get one before going on the road for 3 straight at Bourne tomorrow, at Katuitt on Friday, and at Chatham on Saturday. And after that, a couple of games here at Gov Fuller Field that you can find on Nesson on Sunday and Monday.
That's right. It'll be cool for us to see what the Nesson guys do, trying to get some Cape League games in on their broadcast, and to sit back and kind of learn a little bit. And then you and I will get a chance to hop on for a half inning.
Should be fun. Breaking ball was a called strike to Condon that evened up the count, and then a fastball fouled back. And it's 1-2. That last conversation seems to have settled the nerves a little bit for Faraday on the mound, and he's back ahead in the count, but he was ahead 1-2 to both of the last 2 hitters as well. Condon tight circles with the bat over the right shoulder as he awaits the delivery. 1-2 is low, and that evens things once again at 2-2.
We haven't seen Charlie break out for a big swing in some time. You'd love to see him do that here and give the arms just a nice little bit of relief to stretch the lead.
The big slugger, Jace Lavalette, on deck. Already has 3 hits today. The 2-2. Chopper off of Condon. He'll stay alive. Verdi has an explosive arm, just trying to dial in the control. It's been a long inning here at the plate for the Commodores. Joey Ryan warming still in the bullpen. Down that right field line for Falmouth. Condon digs back in. Another righty-righty matchup with this 2-2 count. Right leg kick, 2-2, is skied out to right field. McLean with a long run in and makes the catch on the run to retire the side. Falmouth gets 1, but strands a pair in scoring position. It's 5-1 Doors heading to the 7th right here on the Commodores Radio Network. Casey Hunt does remain in the game to face the top of the order here in the top of the 7th in a 5-1 ball game from Gov Fuller Field. Thank you so much for working with us tonight and enjoying this game on the radio. Some technical difficulties with the video stream, but we're here bringing you Commodores baseball anyways. Zach Snack alongside Matt Venezia, Destiny Sanchez, and Laura Schroeder helping us out with the graphics. First pitch, a called strike to McLean on the off speed. I think McLean's come up in some big spots. He singled in the first, and then a double play ball and a diving catch that took away a couple RBIs from him in the fourth. Right back to the same pitch. It's that slider from Hunt. Stays in. And McLean holds up on the check swing.
This is a fun matchup. You got a power, hard fastball with an off speed and a slider with Hunt, and then a big bat in the box here to try to spark something.
1-1 fastball, just a touch outside, and it's now a 2-1 count.
I hope that Arizona State bias isn't seeping through in this broadcast, partner. I haven't seen too many Sun Devils here on the Cape. There's 4 in total, but it's good to see some of those guys here tonight.
Outside, the fastball, it's 3-1 now to McLean. Nick McLean, one of 3 McLean brothers.
That's right.
Matt's doing pretty well for a red-hot Cincinnati Reds team in first place in the NL Central. 3-1, misses high, ball 4, and a 5-pitch walk to lead off the inning.
Now they've won, 10 games in a row, I believe, the Cincinnati Reds, and then middle brother Sean McLean was a shortstop at ASU over the past couple of years before getting picked up by the Dodgers in last year's MLB draft. And then, evidently enough, Nick McLean is said to be the best McLean brother out of the 3.
He's got lofty expectations to live up to as Bobby Bozer steps in, takes a fastball tight, and it's 1-0. McLean does have good speed on the base paths. A 3-step lead being held on by Condon. The righty Hunt gives him a couple of looks. Leg kick, fastball fouled back out of play, and it's 1-1 to the South Florida Bull, Bobby Bozer.
Well, up to this point, KC's been really, really good. Gave up a hit, 2 rather, in the 6th inning. You'd like him to find a way to get through this cleanly in this 7th inning and hand the ball over.
McLean creeping off the bag at first, but is not going. Breaking ball, tipped into the glove of Highfill, and it's 1-2. Hunt digs himself back on the rubber. Bozer steps in from the right side. Big bend in the knees and holds the hands high. Runner goes. Pitch fouled back to the screen, and McLean just getting his steps in as he'll head right back to first.
That he is, partner. He'll take his time jogging back to first base. But now it might be on. We've been wanting to see Ross Highfill throw someone out to this point in the year. He's got a chance here. You got to keep an eye on McLean over there.
Zach Stewart's on deck, outfielder out of Missouri State. Bozer 0 for 2 with a walk and takes breaking ball low to even up the count at 2-2. Harry Bozer was first team All AAC, the American Athletic Conference, this season with that .323 average for the Bulls. Trying to get it going here for the Gatemen and spark a rally. McLean takes off, 2-2, fouled off again. And McLean really getting that cardio in now. It's Sprints Day.
Well, I was going to say, that would have been close because that was the fastball. I think 2-2, Hunt's gone to that breaking ball so many times. I don't think McLean's going because he thinks it's a fastball. I think that he thought that was going to be a slower pitch there, maybe even a hit-and-run situation, 2-2. But now you know that might be on. If you go to the hook here, it could throw fastball twice in a row. Let's see what Highfill and the Mississippi State battery decide to do.
2-2 is the off speed that's laid off by Bozer, and he's worked the count full. A really nice at bat in the batter's box for the Wareham second baseman. Infield playing straight up against Bozer. Outfield as well. Pretty deep all around except for Tab Tracy in right. Playing a little bit shallower. 3-2, hit right back up the middle, off the glove of Hunt. Flipped to second in time. Keelan's throw will not get Bozer. But the out is recorded at second base, and they're going to call him out at first as well on runner's interference. They will rule McLean took out Gavin Keelan with his slide, and that takes out the runner at first, so a double play. Both runners retired, and a chance for Casey Hunt to get out of this in clean fashion.
Well, that's a first. Haven't seen that happen yet in the Cape season. Looked pretty good from up here, but I don't know. You can't run him over. The defender has the right. You can't take him out of the base pass purposely there, and that may have been what happened there. And you'd like that if you're Casey Hunt.
First pitch to Zach Stewart missed with the fastball, then comes back with an off-speed pitch that spins in there for a called strike on the outside edge. Stewart, the big lefty out of Missouri State, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks to this point, trying to change that here. Hunt rocks himself set. Chopper foul, and another 2-strike count. Hunt trying to get through this inning, facing the minimum, and get to the stretch in good spot. Casey is not the first Hunt to play for Falmouth. His brother Shooter was an All-American at Tulane, was drafted in the first round by the Minnesota Twins back in 2008. Line drive down the right field line. That's going to get down and get by Tab Tracy and all the way towards the wall. Stewart cruises into second base. A strong throw from Tracy made it closer than it should have been, but a stand-up double there for Zach Stewart.
I was going to say, Zach Stewart started pulling up to second as if he knew he was going to be in there comfortably. I mean, that was certainly roped, but he is a big fella tuning in there to second base. And Gavin Keelan nearly was able to put on the tag there by probably about a foot or so. A 2-out knock nonetheless, and now it looks like Highfield will come out. Just talk to Casey a little bit. We talked about, you'd love to see Casey get through this inning relatively nicely with no runs, and this is his 3rd inning of work. But now, obviously, something to think about now with the base runner. And now Mike Landry looks to be going out there to join the conversation.
Got a lot of pop in his bat. Coming up next in David Glancy. Just graduated from St. John's. Going to head to Notre Dame for his next season and his last season of eligibility here in the college baseball world.
Now it looks like the entire infield will join the conversation as well.
And Joey Ryan entering from the bullpen. Casey Hunt's outing is done after a couple of good innings of work. Gave up the double, couldn't get through the top of the 7th. Now Joey Ryan trying to finish this inning and move on to the next. It's 5-1 Falmouth in front, top of the 7th here from Gulf Fuller Field. Joey Ryan making his 2023 Falmouth Commodores debut. Trying to get out of this inning after the double from Zach Stewart chased Casey Hunt from the ball game, and he'll face David Glancy to start things off. Matt, you've got the numbers on the Boston College Eagle.
Yeah, 24 appearances this year, went 1-1, a 5.57 ERA. He struck out 45. That was good for fourth most on the staff for those Eagles up at Boston College. And I think if nothing else, this is just to show a different look, right? The 2-out base hit. You don't want that run to come in and make this game closer than it is. So Mike Landry deciding to just, Casey did a great job. Just leave that where it is and let Joey Ryan come in and get this last out.
Joey Ryan had 13 appearances for the Doors last summer, a 1.69 ERA. Trying to continue that success into the summer of 2023, and he's greeted by a big swing off the bat of Glancy, and one hops the wall out in left field. Stewart comes in to score. Glancy moves up to second. They trade places, and the Gatemen pulling closer. It's 5-2.
Yeah, back-to-back 2-out doubles will get the Gatemen back on the board for the first time in a little while. But, no, if you're looking for a pitch, you look for a pitch, you drive it. That's exactly what happened, and now you ought to really put this thing where it is.
And that goes on the line of Casey Hunt. As we now have a pinch hitter into the game, it's Dorian Gonzalez Jr. out of Miami, Florida. Plays his college ball at the U in Miami. Takes up on the fastball from Ryan. Starts off this at bat. Gonzalez 3 for 14 on the summer with the Gatemen so far. Stands in from the left side. Ryan working from the stretch with that runner at second. A couple of looks back to Glancy. High leg kick and runs low. The count now 2-0. Gonzalez bending the knees, holds that bat over the left shoulder. High leg kick, 2-0. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on the changeup. Swung right through it. It's 2-1.
Yeah, really good pitch there. Anything works here. Just a ball at anyone. Wanting to get the matchup. That's why Gonzalez Jr. comes in here. But you got to keep this thing at a 3-run lead.
2-1 hit on the ground right side. Backhanded by Condon. Underhand flip to Ryan, who covers the bag to retire the side. The Gatemen get one on back-to-back 2-out doubles, but nothing more. We head to the bottom of the seventh, and it's time to stretch here from Gov Fuller Field. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Doors in front, 5-2. Keegan Allen takes the mound in the bottom of the seventh for Wareham. A couple of defensive changes to let you know of quickly after Gonzalez pinch hit in the last inning for Landon Wallace. He remains in the game at second base, and Bobby Bozer moves from second base out to center field. Keegan Allen entering for his first appearance on the Cape this summer out of West Virginia. Matt, you've got the numbers on Mr. Allen.
Yeah, 16 appearances in Morgantown, was 1-0 with a 5.74 ERA. A save to go along in those 15 2/3 innings. He had a 2.45 ERA in Big 12 games. He knows what it takes to pitch in big moments, and I'm not saying that this is one right now in the early youth of this season, but these divisional games of these teams in the middle chunk of the division battle absolutely matter from now all the way through middle part of August.
Especially with the standings tightening as we go out. We'll get the rest of the scores again from Destiny Sanchez in the top of the 8th, but if the scores hold the way they are right now, things could get real tight between 2 and 5 in the West. It's 4, 5, 6 in the order coming up for the Doors. That's the part of the order that came up in the second inning when Falmouth got across its 3 runs to take that early lead. They have yet to relinquish it to this point.
Yeah, it's a good trend to see. I mean, we know what this pitching's capable of. They're doing their jobs. And the offense, the bats that are here right now on the Cape before some guys go to Team USA, they are certainly capable, and we've seen them today break out a little bit.
Lavalette with that big 6'7" frame in that left-handed batter's box takes fastball just below the knees for ball 1. Lavalette 3 for 3 so far, a pair of singles and a double. And waiting for him to have that huge breakout game. He's been solid overall, but this is the big game we've been waiting to see from Lavalette. Fastball outside makes the count 2-0.
Yeah, 3 for 3 with a double will certainly play. And he's had some guys on there to bring in as well. He came around to score too. I mean, Lavalette's done it in the cleanup spot.
Allen from the windup. Fastball again stays outside. And it's 3-0 to Lavalette, who's way ahead in the count here.
Yeah, no real reason to swing the bat here unless you see something where you want it. You have Highfill coming up. He had the sacrifice that made it 5-1.
3-0 runs inside, quick 4-pitch walk to Jace Lavalette, and another leadoff man aboard for Falmouth.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that. That'll probably be our story of the game tonight. It's just how many times the Commodores not only had a base runner and multiple base runners get on, it's just having to have the opposition's arms already have to work with a runner aboard. They've done that consistently now, and it appears in 6 of the 7 innings, the first man in the inning has reached for Falmouth.
8 hits for the Doors and 7 walks issued by the Gatemen to this point. First pitch swinging, and Highfill comes up empty on that fastball on the inner third. Righty-righty matchup, and Allen now working from the stretch. Lavalette already has a stolen bag in this game. 3-step lead off of first, being held on by Hussey. Leg kick, 0-1, fastball outside, coming across the zone and couldn't keep that corner. 1-1 count. Allen with an open face towards the plate as he gets ready. Rocks himself set and lifts the leg, runs inside and plunks Ross Highfill. 94 right to the shoulder blade. Can feel great for Highfill, but he looks to be okay, shaking it off as he sprints down the first base line and breaks it down football style, getting a little DB action there as you get through the bag and start chopping the feet to break it down.
We've learned with Ross Highfill's personality and humor that I'm sure he was cracking up as he ran down the baseline there. He made 94 on the shoulder look like nothing.
Jace Lavalette takes off, and he's in there standing up. Stole that off the pitcher all the way. Never a throw, and Lavalette with his second stolen bag of the ball game, and they're on the corners with nobody out.
Well, Hernandez jumped up out of the crouch and was looking to second. He didn't even know Lavalette was standing on third.
Fastball outside again. It's 2-0. Runners are on the corners. Colby Shelton at the plate, and quickly a mound visit upcoming. Trying to settle down Keegan Allen, who has thrown 9 pitches so far, just 1 strike.
Yeah, not real good out of the bullpen. You know, Faraday did a pretty solid job, gave up 1 run over his inning and a third, but picked up 2 strikeouts, did walk a lot of batters, but you were expecting that, you know, Allen would be able to lay it down a little bit here, and that's just not been the case.
And this is a team that in the early going, you would hope that the Doors would be able to get things going against. You look at the Gatemen's rankings in the league on their pitching side, 9th in ERA, last in batting average against, 9th in runs allowed, last in strikeouts, and 9th in walks. The average given up over 5 runs a game. The Doors have 5 to this point, looking for number 6, standing at third. Fastball high to Colby Shelton, and it's 3-0.
Yeah, Keegan Allen really having a tough time finding the zone here. And there's no out. You might wonder if they even throw him anything to hit here.
3-0. Ball 4 misses high. Shelton works a walk, and they're loaded without a ball put in play, and Christian Martin steps up.
Not to mention on the 2 walks, there hasn't been a single strike in the AB. The only strike was a Ross Highfill at bat that then he got plunked on.
No one throwing yet for Wareham in the bullpen. First pitch high and outside on the fastball to Christian Martin. He's reached 2 out of the 3 times he's come to the plate. An RBI single in the second, walked and scored in the 6th. Allen with a deep breath on the mound. Staggers the feet. Right leg kick, fastball for a called strike. Gets himself back into the count. It's 1-1.
Well, Zach, you look back at yesterday's game against Orleans after the home run by Deuce to give Falmouth the lead. The immediate half inning after that, Orleans took the lead. So you got to take advantage in a spot, as we see that one go for a ball, where, Falmouth extends the lead, makes it 5-1. Very next half inning, you just saw Wareham score immediately. Now you need to be the one doing that same deed, but to the opposition, and you have a spot right here.
Bases loaded, a 2-1 count with nobody out to Christian Martin. Swinging, slices a line drive out to left. Stewart backpedaling to make the catch. It'll be deep enough, though, to bring in Lavalette. The Doors get the run right back, push the lead back to 4. And there's still 2 aboard with 1 away for Gavin Keelan.
Yeah, nice job by Martin. And, we know Lavalette's really fast on third base. The standing 6'7", 18 stolen bags for him this year at Texas A&M. But there in left, Stewart was backpedaling, then switching over to running to his right. So he wasn't really settled under it at all. And that's just right off the read. You can see that the outfielder's struggling to get under it. No brainer there to tag up, and it was easy without a throw.
Ross Highfill well off the bat, and Allen had to throw it to second. Highfill being waved around. He'll head to the plate, and he'll score standing up. An error on the throw by Allen. And Highfill comes all the way around to score from second base without a pitch during this at-bat to Gavin Keelan.
And with that, Shelton's able to move on to second. My goodness, that was your best example of Little League ball right there. The ball just kind of being thrown around the infield a little bit.
Fastball up to start Gavin Keelan. Ian Allen could have done an inside move or stepped off and then just ran at Ross Highfill. Instead, he jump turned, so he had to throw it to second, and they spiked the throw, and it got into center field. 1-0 to Keelan. Low and inside, it's 2-0. Well, 7-2 Commodores here in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, Ross was getting a little antsy there. It looked like he was going to be caught in a situation. Just a really bad throw by Keegan, bailing out the Commodores catcher.
Still a man in scoring position with Shelton at second. 2-0, fastball sent back to the screen. 2-1 count now to Keelan. Had the single in the 4th and then the sac fly in his last plate appearance. 2-1. Swing and a miss. Really nice breaking ball there, and Keelan swings through it. 2-2 count.
Yeah, really big cut there from Gavin. You like what you've seen from the Commodores here today, responding and wanting to bring in runners that they get out there on base. You got one more here in a good spot for Keelan.
The break even. Ground ball left side. Going to be a tough play. Murillo with a backhand. He's never going to get Keelan. He'll hold on to it. An infield single for Gavin Keelan. And 2 on with 1 away for Tab Tracy.
Yeah, just putting one the other way in a tough spot. There's been a lot of ground balls over there. Tough for the third baseman to jump off the bag, and even if he doesn't get it, then Murillo, in this case the shortstop, he's pretty much running towards the third baseman's natural position when he fields this ball in the backhand. And speed or not, I mean, that's a really tough throw to make. Jump throw, off balance. I mean, that's a really tough play for any shortstop to make.
2 aboard now for Tab Tracy, who takes changeup down, and it's 1-0. Tracy 1 for 3, a single and a pair of punch-outs. Trying to improve upon that tonight and keep the chains moving here for the Doors. Fastball high, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, just been a really long, tough inning here. There's still only 1 out, too, by the Gatemen here. Allen coming in here trying to settle it down and keep the game close, and the Doors continue to threaten.
The Texas A&M Aggie in the box. And Tab Tracy takes the fastball high and outside. It's 3-0. Top of the order waiting on deck. Doors starting to open things up here against the Gatemen in the 7th. Already 2 runs in. Still just 1 out. 3-0. Fastball right over the heart of the plate. That's 3-1. It's Shelton at second base. Reached on a walk, and then Keelan over at first, who had the infield single just a moment ago. Fastball on the 3-1 is high, and Tab Tracy now will trot down to first. They're loaded for Joe Redfield.
And the Commodores doing a real good job here. I mean, the only out in this inning was a sacrifice. I mean, the Doors have been productive in every single at-bat here, with a lot of that to do with the inconsistencies on the mound with Allen throwing right now. I mean, the only ball really put in play was that sacrifice, and then the base hit from Gavin Keelan that still stayed in on the infield. So a lot of this has been self-inflicted for Wareham, and again, they're fully loaded right now with the top of the order. Not a good combo for Wareham if they're trying to still keep this thing manageable to an extent with two more sets of at-bats.
Well, it'll be a new arm to face the top of the order. We'll step aside, be back with all the info in just a minute. 7-2, Doors in front, base is still loaded with one away here in the bottom of the seventh on the Commodores Radio Network. Bases are juiced. Commodores trying to add more to a 7-2 lead here in the bottom of the seventh, and a new arm is Chance D'Aquila out of Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game's out of reach right now, you would think. I mean, there's still time to go, but, you know, D'Aquila coming in here in a big spot, if nothing else, just trying to keep this thing where it is and look good for his next outing out there. But to this point with Campbell, was a starter. 14 games, started all of them, went 9-1. A sub-5 ERA over 68 and two-thirds innings pitched. Struck out 42, but had a lot of walks. That's been the theme of this inning for the Gatemen. 24 walks to the 42 strikeouts. Not the best combination in the world. And just over 250 on the opponent average. It's a tough spot for any pitcher to come into, regardless of what your numbers look like. Still needing 2 outs in the inning. There's already been 2 home, and the bases are juiced.
And you've got a very good order to face here with Joe Redfield, Kevin Bazell, and Charlie Condon, the next 3 in the order. Final line to this point for Allen is 1/3 of an inning pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs at the moment, but responsible for all 3 on the base paths, 3 walks and no strikeouts. Not the debut he was looking for his summer. Joe Redfield so far has reached twice, singled in the first, walked in the sixth. Also did reach on an error in the third, but that one doesn't help the batting average. A couple of stolen bags for Redfield as well.
Yeah, and you would hope that this offensive outburst, and while we've said a lot of them been, some of the walks and smaller play in this inning, I mean, you've seen a lot of barreled up balls, a lot of base hits and balls in the gaps from Falmouth tonight. You hope this could wake up a sleeping giant in this loaded lineup that we know we have here in Falmouth, moving forward with this ugly number they've thrown up against Wareham.
Just got to try to build some momentum going in to this road stretch and finish off this game here at the Gov. Redfield steps in, open stance from the left side. Fastball fired high and outside. It's a 1-0 count. The Commodore center fielder. It's Shelton at third. He reached via the walk. Gavin Keelan had the infield single. He's at second. Tab Tracy reached on a walk as well. He stands at first. Infield is back. Trying to play for the double play here. Fastball misses low and outside. to Redfield. He's ahead in the count now, 2-0.
Yeah, a lot of these arms from Wareham tonight really struggling to find the zone when they've come out of the bullpen. This has been a common theme since Batista left after doing 4 2/3 innings.
2-0. Called strike on the outside edge. It's 2-1. 9 Wareham walks to go along with the 9 Commodores hits. And that doesn't include Ross Highfill being hit by a pitch. There was an error as well that allowed a man to reach earlier in the game. And that hits Joe Redfield on that front leg. He'll trot down, and at least he gets an RBI for his troubles.
I was going to say, Ross Highfill, when he got plunked, all it did was get a base runner aboard. That time, though, statistically, it helps out Joe Redfield. Another run comes in, already 3 home in this long 7th inning.
Base is still juiced with 1 away for Kevin Bazell. It's 8-2. Falmouth in front. Aquila still working from the stretch. High leg kick, and the fastball stays above the letters to Bazell. A nightmare bottom of the 7th so far for Wareham. Just trying to get out of here with as little damage as possible. Breaking ball catches the zone for a called strike. It's 1-1. Bazell did ground into a double play earlier in the game. Both balls he's put in play have been on the ground. Aquila trying to make it a 3rd time. Bazell just trying to get something up in the air and add another run here. Goes right back to the bender. And a called strike. That's been the only pitch so far that Aquila's been able to locate. We'll see if he goes back to it a 3rd time here. Bazell swings that bat around in that right-handed batter's box. Aquila rocks himself set on the rubber. The 1-2 is the breaking ball, low and outside. Hernandez with a block in front. Evens up the count, 2-2. Charlie Condon stands on deck. This is the 8th hitter of the inning for Falmouth. And so far, just 1 hit. 2-2. Popped up right side of the infield. Camping under it to make the catch is Hussey over at first base in foul territory. And so Bazell goes down via the pop-out, but the bases are juiced for Charlie Condon.
Yeah, the first out of this inning since we saw Martin pop up on the sacrifice to fairly deep left field. I mean, that felt like years ago, given how this inning's gone and panned out.
Charlie Condon, 3rd chance with the bases loaded this season, takes a fastball for a called strike at the knees. The first one was a little chopper that ended the ball game in a tie against Bourne. The second one was hit a lot farther than the first. A grand slam against YD.
I remember that one. That was an interesting game, you know, with Falmouth coming back from a big deficit to tie it up because of the grand slam. And then you talk about an ugly inning, 8 in that 7th, I believe, for YD.
Breaking ball misses outside to Condon. It's 1-1. No one holding on any of the runners. Breaking ball just misses low and out. 2-1 count. Condon still looking for his first hit of the ball game. 0 for 4 to this point. Entered the day just shy of a 300 average at 297. Fouls back. 2-1 fastball to the screen. Aquila's worked back even. 2-2 with 2 away. Bases still loaded in an 8-2 ball game. 3 runs across in the bottom of the 7th. Condon has a chance to add some more. Big lean in from D'Aquila. Straightens himself and comes set. Right leg kick, 2-2. Check swing fouled back towards the on-deck circle. Jace Lavalette had to hop out of the way of that one. But Condon remains alive. And another 2-2 upcoming. Condon stands 6'6", that right-handed batter's box. Big bend in the knees. Holds the hands tight to the chest. D'Aquila comes set. Righty kicks and deals. Bounces in the changeup there. Blocked in front by Hernandez, and we're loaded with a 3-2 count, 2 away. And the bases juiced. The runners will be on the move here. The payoff pitch. Ground ball left side into left field, a base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes Tracy. He cruises in A 2 RBI single from Charlie Condon, and it's 10-2 Commodores.
Yeah, really good to see Charlie swinging the bat there and getting one through to bring in some runs. He's had some good swings and some big spots to bring in some runs over the last little bit. And he comes through there. He talked about him being 0 for 4 today. Really good to see him just put a baseball in there on the full count. You know, you like to see guys put the bat on the ball instead of keeping this inning going and going with all those walks. 2 RBIs added to Condon's total.
The 10th Commodore to the plate on the inning. Jace Lavalette swings through a changeup to start his second plate appearance of the bottom of the 7th. He walked and scored to start things off. Now getting his first look at D'Aquila. Redfield still at second, Condon at first. Another changeup, low. This time Lavalette lays off it. He's reached all 4 plate appearances. Singled and scored in the 2nd, doubled in the 3rd, singled in the 5th, and then walked earlier in the bottom of the 7th. Little nubber foul down the third base line. Was reaching for that pitch. Got it off the end of the bat, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, the Doors like scoring runs against Wareham. You look back at the opener, putting up 10 in that juggernaut of a game, 11-10. Now you've got 10 of your own here, just a week and a half or so later. I think Falmouth really needed a win like this, Zach. It had been a lot of close games.
Still a few outs to go, but feeling pretty good about this one at this point. Pitch misses outside. It's 2-2.
Yeah, you got to wonder. It's been a long time since Joey Ryan went out there and pitched. I mean, he only had that one out and then has been on the bench for what seems like an hour or so.
It has been quite a bit in the bottom of the 7th. 2-2, popped straight up. Hernandez sheds the mask, moves over towards the side, makes the catch right in front of the Wareham dugout for out number 3. But the Commodores send 10 men to the plate in the bottom of the 7th, put up a 5 spot. They lead it by 8 now, 10-2, headed to the 8th on the Commodores Radio Network. Back at the Gov, a 10-2 lead for Falmouth heading to the top of the 8th. And this isn't the only game around the Cape. We're going to check around on some scores at other ballparks with Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, Zach. The Orleans Firebirds defeated the Brewster Whitecaps 4-2. The Bourne Braves lead the YD Red Sox 7-3 in the top of the 9th. And the Harwich Mariners lead the Chatham Anglers 4-1 at the top of the 8th.
Thank you, Destiny, for that. And Joey Ryan back out there on the mound for Falmouth, and he was pretty good here last year. I mentioned the numbers, but you've got a little more about Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, Joey Ryan out of Boston College, and he is from Falmouth and played on the Cape last year for the Doors. He made the 2022 West All-Star squad at Boston College. He is a 3-time All-ISL first-team honoree, named an ISL All-Star, a pitcher for the Norwood Legion for 1 season and the Cape Cod Clippers for 2, and being a Falmouth native, I'm sure he was itching to get on the mound tonight.
Has to love it, and he's got to love what he's seen from his offense there. You enter the game with a 3-run lead, and the next time you come back out, you've got an 8-run lead. First pitch swinging. Big cut and a miss there from Grant Hussey to start this at bat. Hussey, Hernandez, and Murillo, the 3 due up for the Gatemen. In the top of the 8th. Righty Ryan delivers. Fastball cut on and missed. It's 0-2. Working from the windup for the first time. He's got his feet closed before he goes into that windup. The high leg kick and leaves the changeup leaking low and outside. Hussey lays off it. It's 1-2.
Yeah, I could think, depending on how this top half goes, we could see a lot of substitutions, I think, before this one comes to an end.
The 1-2 sent straight back off the bat of Hussey. His stays alive. He's reached twice in this game, walked in the fourth, singled in the sixth. Was a strikeout victim of Shane Telfer's back in the second. Feels like an eternity ago early in this game. How beautiful afternoon has turned into night here at Gov Fuller Field. 1-2 sent straight back.
I was just going to say, the last time Ryan was on the mound, the sun was still out, and it is not anymore.
Sun's starting to set. Some fans brought some blankets here. They're still out here at Gov Fuller Field taking in this action. 1-2 low and outside. 2-2 count now. A little ACC versus Big 12 action here in this matchup with Ryan and Hussey, the West Virginia Mountaineer. 2-2, low and in on the changeup. Count now full, 3-2. Colby Shelton playing well off the line at third base. Entire infield shifted a few steps towards the right side with the left-handed hitter at the dish. The payoff from Ryan. Swing and a miss. Popped out of the glove of Highfill. He'll slap the tag on to complete the out. First strikeout of the summer for Joey Ryan, and the first man retired in the top of the eighth.
Yeah, really good stuff there by Ryan. Got ahead quickly and then had a couple of baseballs that weren't entirely all that tempting. I think that breaking ball in to left-handed bat there was tempting on the 2-2, but then way to come back and pull the string once again for the swinging punch-out.
Brings up Yadi Hernandez. First pitch swinging, soft chopper left side. Keelan on the run, throwing wide, pulls Condon. Hernandez will move up to second. Condon will think about it, but hold the throw. So Hernandez is aboard with a single, and then an error that moves him over to second base. And a man in scoring position with one away for Wareham, trying to cut into this big deficit.
Yeah, Keelan trying to come in and make a tight play there. I mean, there's a lot of speed out of the box there in Hernandez, so that certainly played into it. But that's the second time we've seen kind of a not-too-great throw by Keelan, pulling off Condon from the bag. You thought you were getting after that good battle in the first at-bat of this inning, a quick second out. Now you got some work here with Murillo stepping in.
Both those throws that have went wide have been really tough plays for Keelan. As first pitch to Murillo, a called strike. The first one, he was shifted on the other side of second base, coming on a backhand play thrown across his body, and there, a slow chopper on a full sprint in, trying to throw on the run. Condon couldn't get to it as it was wide. Sebastian Murillo's had a good game, reached in all three plate appearances. Fastball outside, evens up the count at 1-1.
And more importantly, you have the bottom part of the order here, 8-9 due up here with 8 in the box, 9 on deck. You don't want the top of the order for this Wareham team to get a shot at it. You want to find some outs here in this bottom part.
If you're just joining us, it was an early start for Falmouth to get in front, and then a big bottom of the seventh that pushed the lead to 10-2. Ryan goes off speed, gets a swing and a miss on the 1-1. Now ahead in the count to Sebastian Murillo. Wareham shortstop bats from the right side, big bend in the knees, and holds the hands high over that right shoulder. Long look to second from Ryan. The 1-2 bounces in. Highfill keeps it in front. 2-2 count. Commodores hoping to snap a losing streak, get back in the win column before the three-game road trip. Heading out to Bourne, then Kitsua, and then Chatham before a couple of games back here that you can find on Nesson against Harwich and Hyannis. 2-2. Late time called by the third base umpire over there, Jeff Merzel. So no pitch. Ryan will go back at it with Murillo at the dish. Ryan works first base side in the stretch. The 2-2. Misses inside. That'll be ball 4. Merzell ruled a pitch clock violation, which added that extra ball. And so the full count walk, 2 aboard with 1 away, and a pinch runner now entering the game for Wareham. It's Josh Stevenson. The outfielder plays his college ball at LSU. The rest of his collegiate team still playing right now, in front 5-2 on Wake Forest, trying to force a game 7 in that part of the bracket in Omaha.
Yeah, the winner gets Florida. The Gators finding their way to the big game earlier today against TCU.
First pitch misses up to J.C. Cologne. LSU would have to beat Wake Forest again tomorrow if they're able to win this one. Cologne batting from the right side. 1-0 swinging right back to the screen. Evens things at 1-1. Cologne from Carolina, Puerto Rico. And a big-time names there out of Carolina. You've got Roberto Clemente. You've got Francisco Lindor. A lot of guys that have come from that spot. A beautiful area just outside of San Juan. Ryan gets the sign from Highfill. Leg kick, 1-1. Bounces it in, and it's 2-1. In a game like this, it can be tough to keep your focus out there on the mound with this big of a lead, but Ryan trying to maintain it and get through these next 5 outs. Pick up the first home win of the season for Falmouth. 2-1, fastball high, and it's 3-1 to Cologne.
Yeah, this is pretty big of a spot here because Nick McLean, top of the order on deck. And last time those guys came up, they worked the 1 run they had in the top half of the 7th.
3-1 swinging, popped up, foul territory. Highfill runs over towards the dugout and watched it land in the grass behind that first base side.
Well, you have a 3-2 count here. Grant Hussey struck out to begin this inning on a 3-2 count. So Ryan has been able to clutch up at the very brink. Previous at-bat in Murillo before being pinch ran for, that was a full count. He walked the batter. You want to find this second out here and not give Wareham any thought of having a chance in this ball game.
Couple of shakes from Ryan. Lifts the leg, the payoff. Yellow light swing, flipped out into left field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Hernandez held up at third. The bases are loaded with 1 away as the lineup flips over, and here comes Nick McLean.
So this is what you worried about at the bottom part of the order, finding a way to do some damage. After the leadoff strikeout, you've got a base hit, a walk, and another blooping base hit out into shallow left center. And he might be the leadoff guy, but there's a reason we highlighted him at the beginning of the broadcast, because he acts as a cleanup hitter in any lineup. Spent some time there for ASU in that leadoff spot and cleanup as well.
First pitch, a called strike. Changeup drops into the zone. It's 0-1. McLean, 2 home runs in 4 games to start the summer on the Cape for Wareham. The 0-1. Nubber back to the mound. Ryan throws to the plate. Highfill down to first. And a 1-2-3 double play to retire the side. The Gatemen load the bases, but can't bring anyone across. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Doors way in front, 10-2 on the Commodores Radio Network. Chance D'Aquila back to the mound to face Ross Highfill to lead things off. It's Highfill, Shelton, and Martin, the scheduled three for the Doors in the bottom of the eighth. The 10-2 ball game. The Gatemen loaded the bases with one out, but a 1-2-3 double play retired the side.
Yeah, you'd like to see Ross find a base hit here. He's reached several times today, already twice, but none on base hits. Had the RBI sacrifice fly to right back in the fifth inning of play.
First pitch to Highfill misses outside. The Doors sent 10 men to the plate in that bottom of the seventh, brought in 5. Highfill fouls one back. That evens up the count. Infield deep across the diamond. Some defensive changes. Bobby Bozer started the game at second, moved out to center, now is at shortstop. And Josh Stevenson, who pinch ran for the shortstop Murillo, he goes into center. Fastball outside from D'Aquila. Kicking the dirt up there on the mound, trying to find his landing spot. It's a 2-1 count. Highfill has reached twice and has a sac fly, but looking for his first hit. Comes up empty on that pitch on the outside edge. Good late movement from that fastball, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, Ross, to this point, one of 2 Commodores without a hit so far in this ballgame. A lot of other guys have found a way.
2-2 fouled back by D'Aquila.
It's that complimentary baseball that we've been talking about, and the Commodores have been showing a lot of trends in that right direction with the stranded base runners over the last couple of games. Well, now they've brought them in and extended the line.
Another 2-2 is a breaking ball that stays inside. Count runs full. 10 runs on 10 hits for Falmouth. 2 runs on 9 hits for the Gatemen. 3-2 swinging, popped straight up. Hernandez sheds the mask, and we'll watch it land just to the left of the press box here at Gov Fuller Field. It's been a good day for the Commodores to this point, trying to get some momentum here in the middle part of the first half. The Cape season. Highfill checked his swing. That one got him. But I believe it's a foul ball as it hit the knob of the bat.
Yeah, Ross is flexing out what looks to be his left hand, I believe, on that check swing, and that's your backstop back there. He's gotten plunked by 2 pitches here. This one, though, counts as a strike for the foul ball. And as your catcher there, he looks to be okay. He's going to step back in the box. Didn't really wince a whole lot. But in a game up by this much, you don't want to see that.
The 9th pitch of the at-bat misses low and outside. Ross Highfill works the leadoff walk in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, walks have been the story of this game for Wareham. My goodness, Zach, there have been a lot of them.
That is 10.
10 on 10 hits. You had a couple of errors, 2 of them defensively. There's just been a lot of base runners for Falmouth today, and you knew they were knocking at the door to bring them all in, and here they've come in a wave.
Fastball outside to Colby Shelton. Shelton has reached 3 times, singled and scored in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, walked and scored in the 7th. Highfill takes off. Throw down, not in time, as Ross Highfill swipes second.
Yeah, clearly the hand seems to be okay, having to dive in head first with it. He looks to be just good. That's what you like to see up by this much. And your backstop getting plunked there a little bit. It's good to see him still trying and putting out good effort here up by so many runs.
2-0, called strike. Brings the count to 2-1. And these summer leagues on the Cape like this are not just for the actual games, they're also for these guys and for their numbers to show scouts what they can do. Shelton skies one out to left. Long run for Stewart into foul territory, and he overran it, and it drops.
Wow, I mean, you got to be careful with the hill over there in foul territory along the left field line, but I was watching Ross Highfill. We talked about his aggressiveness. He was getting ready to tag from that, and it's not really all that deep. It's just away from the play in left field foul territory. Ross started going because he thought Stewart made the catch. That would have been a really close play.
Well, and Stewart would have had to turn his body and get back to it.
Right. And I think where he ended up, he would have...
2-2, swing and a miss. Elevated fastball. Shelton goes down swinging first out of the inning, but Ross Highfill still remains at second.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now, but, I mean, if he makes that play, he's running past the trees there in left. So not only does he have to turn around and fire, he's got to work around some obstruction there in foul territory.
First pitch misses to Christian Martin. Martin had the sac fly in the 7th. A walk and a single, along with a fly out. Give him that 1-for-2 line. Willa steps off. He'll reset. Martin bends the knees with that open stance from the left side. Fastball hit right back up the middle. Not too hard. Going to be fielded by Gonzalez. Throw across his body. In time to get Martin.
That's a beautiful play done there by Gonzalez. Stepping into the game here as a late substitution after pinch running, and he just made a gold glove play, running in on the grass but away from first base. You see it so many times on TV because those guys are professionals. Well, you got college kids here who are trying to get to that point, and that's a gold glove play there at second base.
Now Gavin Keelan comes up with a man at third. Swings through a changeup to start the at-bat. It's 0-1. Keelan had the infield single in the 7th, his second single of the ball game. 2-for-3 line. This is low and in. His only other at-bat brought a run in, but it was a double play, so he doesn't get the RBI, but he's been productive every time he's come to the plate. Trying to add another run to the scoreboard for the Doors. Takes fastball outside. It's 2-1.
Yeah, it's been a struggle from the Gatemen to throw strikes here relatively over this last part of the ball game. Aside from the 3-run second inning from Falmouth, I mean, this game was close for a really long time. Pitching was doing pretty solid as well.
2-1 leaks outside. 3-1 count to Keelan. Tab Tracy's on deck. The top of the order would follow that. No action throughout in the bullpen for Falmouth. Got to think Joey Ryan's going to go back out there for yet another inning to try and shut this one down. Fastball fouled back to the screen by Keelan. Full count now. Aquila trying to get through this frame and just get the Gatemen out of Falmouth as quick as possible tonight. The 3-2. High and outside, ball 4. Keelan works a walk, and they're on the corners for Tab Tracy.
11 walks now from this Gateman pitching staff tonight. And while there haven't been any long balls to really make you feel like those, are, really beating you, it's been a lot of the mistakes we've seen defensively. There's been some infield play, some balks. I mean, the Commodores are playing small ball tonight, and it is certainly working.
Fastball high to start the at-bat to Tab Tracy. No one warming in the bullpen for Wareham either. Just going to let Aquila go until he can get this last out here in the bottom of the 8th. Righty working first base side from the stretch. Delivers called strike. Taking a little bit off of that one. Get it over the heart of the plate. 1-1 count to Tracy. Ground ball left side. That's through into left field, a base hit. Ross Highfield comes in to score. Tab Tracy with an RBI knock, and it's 11-2 Falmouth.
Well, this has certainly been deserved by a Falmouth team that just could not catch a break in close ball games. They decided to just play one. The other outcome of just pouring it onto your opponent when you get the opportunity. Again, it's been a lot of these base hits that are bringing in one runner at a time, but when the opponent gives you that opportunity, you have to be willing and need to take advantage of it, and we're certainly seeing that tonight.
First pitch to Joe Redfield is a called strike. It's 0-1. Keelan at second, Tracy at first. In an 11-1 ball game, the Doors have scored at least one in the last 4 innings. 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 5 in the 7th, and 1 here in the 8th. Fastball outside, evens up the count to Redfield. He's got a single, he's walked, he's been hit by a pitch, an RBI hit by pitch in his last at-bat with the bases loaded against Keegan Allen. 1-1 is roped foul toward the bleachers. Down the right field line, it's going to take a hop off of those metal bleachers and back into play in right field. So McLean will go over and flip that one off the field of play.
Well, that swing right there tells me that Redfield knows that this league's about players too. It's 11-2. He wants every at-bat that he can get. in front of the scouts and to try and get his stats looking positively. Just way out in front of that one, but a nice solid cut.
The 1-2. Curveball that stays low. 2-2 count. Redfield, a 2023 draft guy. Going to be here a few weeks and then go home to get ready for the draft. Wants to give those scouts every last look that they can get of him. The break even. Slicing out into shallow left. Long run for Stewart. It pops out of his glove. Keelan comes in to score. The throw to third, not in time. Redfield moves up to second. And they got him. So one run comes in. The inning ends. But it's 12-2. Falmouth in front, headed to the ninth. Top of the ninth coming up right after the break. You are listening to Falmouth Commodores Baseball. Bobby Bozer steps up as it's 2-3-4 to face Joey Ryan here in the top of the ninth inning. First pitch swinging, and Bozer sends one back out of play. It's 0-1. A 12-2 ball game. Falmouth really opening things up. The Gatemen pulled back within 3 in the top of the 7th at 5-2, but since then, 7 straight runs put up by the Doors. 5 in the bottom of the 7th, 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Ryan misses with a fastball. Evens things up 1-1 to Bozer. Bozer 0 for 3 with a walk to this point. Ryan working from the windup. Righty delivers the 1-1. Pop foul out of play once again, and it's 1-2. Bozer, Stewart, and Glancy. The 3-2 up for Wareham in the top of the ninth. Falmouth trying to shut the door on this one. The infield deep across the diamond. Bozer, big bend in the knees from the right side. 1-2, change up low and in. Evens up the count 2-2. Some night baseball under the lights here on this Wednesday night in Falmouth. The break even from Ryan. Hit hard on the ground, but foul down the third base line. Roll up onto the hill down that left field line. Not as many Wareham fans down there at this point in the night.
Yeah, I mean, between all the activity in that 7th inning, the fans here at the Gov most of them have made their way back home.
Another 2-2. High and tight. Brushes back Bobby Bozer. A full count awaits at this point the Wareham shortstop. Started at second, moved to center, now it's short. The payoff pitch. Skied out to right. Tracy over on it, make the catch for out number 1.
That way to battle there and get back in the count, throw a pitch to put a ball in play. And a long one it's been today, no doubt about it. But tomorrow, you talk about what the Commodores have on the horizon. They're going to Bourne Should see AJ Causey tomorrow. Should be exciting to see him make his Commodores debut.
Yeah, he was really good last year for Falmouth and had a good year at Jacksonville State. Called strike on the first pitch, changeup. That drops in right on the inside edge to the left-handed hitter, Zach Stewart. He doubled to chase Casey Hunt from the ball game back in the top of the 7th. 0-1 is roped foul.
I was just going to say, I mean, the last time he stood in the box, hits that double to bring in McLean, and you're thinking, hang on, like this game's actually relatively close here when he hits that double, and then he sets up a chance for right behind him, Glancy, to bring him in.
The 0-2. Outside. Fastball couldn't catch the edge. It's a 1-2 count now. It is David Glancy on deck. Ryan back into the wind. The 1-2. Bounces in. Evens up the count, 2-2. This will be just the 40th pitch of the outing for Ryan.
Not anywhere near the end of his tank, being a guy who started a ton of games with Boston College. So many of those arms, by the way, have been used out of the Falmouth bullpen. A lot of guys can give you length.
The 2-2. Popped up on the infield. Charlie Condon will give way to Ross Highfill, who will make the catch down the first base line for out number 2.
Good communication. Not looking where he's going. And in that case, the general of the infield and the catcher, Ross Highfill, he's gotten plunked a couple of times today, but still able to get out there and make a play in foul territory, and 1 out away from bookmarking what, on paper might look like a really dominant effort, and it was, but it was a lot of base hits and taking advantage of a lot of free passes from Wareham.
Called strike to start the at-bat. So David Glancy had the RBI double on the first pitch that Joey Ryan threw. Since then, Ryan has worked his way relatively cleanly, getting out of the jam in the last inning. Change-up swung through, and it's 0-2. Wareham down to its final strike. Joey Ryan trying to put the finishing touches on this one. Glancy bends that knees from the right side. Ryan in the wind, the 0-2. Runs inside, brushes him back. One-two count. The righty kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. It gets away from Highfill. He'll throw down to Condon, and the Commodores pick up a 10-run win over Wareham to get back in the win column. It's 12-2, the final score.
Again, we were just about to say it a second ago that, hey, looking at the paper, 12-2, you're expecting an offensive breakout, which I'm not saying that didn't happen. The Doors put up a lot of runs today. They took advantage of getting a lot of free base runners today, 12 hits, but 11 walks, a lot of free passes by Wareham. And again, we've talked about it. This lineup is so good to not take advantage of those opportunities. And it had been coming for this lineup. You knew that eventually they were going to break out and get those knocks to bring in 2 runners at a time. We saw that today. The 3-run inning in the second was all the offense the Commodores needed, and they still put on ways to find insurance. And this game was close, Zach. Entering that 7th inning, I mean, it's a 5-2 game. Then Wareham threatened a little bit, and the Doors really pulled away over the last third. And this is a really good, hard-deserved win for this team that really couldn't buy one for a long stretch of time.
The Doors get some momentum going into this weekend stretch and try and keep things moving. 12 runs on 12 hits for Falmouth. 2 runs on 9 hits for Wareham. And with more, before we sign off, we're going to send it over to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, Zach. This is the type of game we've been wanting to see from the Doors. 12 runs on 12 hits. Falmouth capitalized in this game, in the batter's box and in the base path. I could feel a sense of urgency from this squad, and this type of win was overdue, and I would love to see a trend like this continue, especially with the Doors' 3-game away stretch in the next few days.
Thank you, Destiny. We will see if the Doors are able to do just that, as tomorrow Falmouth is on the road at Bourne. As we mentioned, the first time Falmouth will hit the road and head to Duran Park. We'll be there with you. That game scheduled with a first pitch at 6 o'clock. We'll be live around 5:50, bringing you the action on the radio and a big-time game. Dominic Nyman got the start, and Jonathan Batista gets the loss for the Gatemen. And I believe Shane Telfer will get the win for Falmouth in his relief outing. That'll do it for us here from Gov Fuller Field. For everybody that's been working on all of the technical difficulties we've had today, we appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us on the radio. For my broadcast partners, Matt Venezia and Destiny Sanchez, Laura Schroeder on the graphics today, I am Zach Sardenik, hoping you have a blessed rest of your Wednesday night.